fall is harvest time. And it's perfect to see this as a harvest time in our lives and to just take this opportunity to connect with the abundance, which is always there. And as I was thinking about this theme of abundance, uh, I remembered a funny thing. And this is so random, maybe, but I got an economics degree many moons ago from UCLA. And I realized the definition of economics is interesting. It's not like you might want to put it in the chat. What do you think the study of economics is about? And you might think it's the study of markets or money, and it is those things, how markets move and how different economies interact. There's a lot to it, but the definition, the textbook definition, is it is the study of scarcity. It's the study of the allocation of scarce goods. But in short, if you Google it, it's the study of scarcity. And I was thinking about how most of us have been brought up in a mindset of scarcity. There are so many idioms like when my ship comes in, I'll be at the airport. My mom had this little statuette kind of a thing of someone holding we were talking about bags at the airport before a service. Someone like standing there with their bags and saying, "When my ship comes in, I'll probably be at the airport." And money doesn't grow on trees, and the idioms go on and on. And I was thinking also of some scarcity consciousness. In 1983, I had a job as a collections agent at J.C. Penney's, and it just so happens to be the minimum wage in 1983 in California was $3.35. But I was making a big bad $6 an hour as a collections agent for J.C. Penney. But that job lasted 2 weeks because I hated it. I hated it. And it got me so stressed that, they gave us a 30-minute lunch. I tried to go out and sit in the park and calm down and eat lunch and I would have a panic attack. So I uh I quit. And I remember my mom was so upset about me quitting. She was saying, "You got a good job with, good benefits and $6 an hour. You don't know what you're doing walking away from a job like that." She had the mentality of my dad had been laid off so many times from United Airlines, and she had this mentality. She grew up in the Depression era. My mom was a little older, and um, she kind of put the fear of God in me. And well, what happened though with me was found a job later on that was double that. Okay, so one day I've got that job that was making the 12 or $13 an hour, and I quit that. What did my mom do? My mom freaked out again. You don't know if you'll ever have a job making that much again. And once again, and this pattern continued. It continued a few more times after that. I said, Mom, I've got to, there are other opportunities waiting out there for me. So I don't know if any of you can feel any commonality with that. And today, a lot of people are paying attention to scarcity and lack and limitation and tariffs these days. And it reminded me of Michael Beckwith's saying, where he said, "We cannot be hypnotized by the tyranny of trends." By the tyranny of trends. It's a very appropriate word, especially if you did any marching yesterday. He also said we must free ourselves from society's undertow. Okay. So what's society's undertow? You're swimming. Yeah, you have this vision of there's an undertow underneath. And the undertow could mean a lot of things, but I think in this case, the undertow could mean all those voices of not enoughness. It could mean the undertow of social media. It could be the undertow of fear, the undertow of thoughts of there's not enough to go around, the undertow of there is not enough, the undertow of we'll never win, the undertow of justice will never be served, or those people will always be oppressed. We are powerless. These voices. these voices, whatever the voices are in your life that go counter to what your goals are to as a human being that you know to be spiritually correct and true and magnificent, human under the undertow of this social, what's called social consciousness or race consciousness, will create this undertow that we've got to swim away from. Further, Michael Beckwith said along this topic, don't pull in the frequency of all the suffering that has happened on the planet. You know, it, empaths can do that easily, but like I said a few weeks ago, therapists who work with, they're compassionate workers all the time, but they're schooled on how to separate and how to have a healthy boundary so they don't pull in the frequency of the suffering into themselves and suffer. We have to keep a high vibration. So Michael Beckwith goes on to say, instead of pulling in this frequency of the suffering that's happening on the planet, instead ask what good is present that I cannot see right now? What's seeking to emerge in my life or as my life right now? What gift is being born in me right now? Because something is always, we're always working on birthing something. Um, what power is being cultivated? And maybe if you think about the undertow being all the voices that you listen to, and even your own voice can adopt these voices from the undertow, like I'm not good enough, or I'm less than, and I won't be able to do this, I won't be able to do that. You can stop believing all those things that you tell yourself, and you can feed your brain other things. You can feed your brain hope. You can feed your brain truth. You can feed your brain love and have your brain believe those things instead of believing the voices of the tyranny of trends and the societal undertow. So that's beautiful. Another thing that came up just along this same vibration was Mark Mesidorian at the workshop the other night quoted Marcus Garvey, who's a civil rights activist, and this lyric made its way into a Bob Marley song called the Redemption Song, one of my favorite songs. You must emancipate yourself from mental slavery. You must emancipate yourself from mental slavery in whatever form that exists. It can mean anything. It can mean lack and limitation thinking. It can mean slavery to thinking that believing that abundance is not yours, believing that the flow of well-being and happiness is not yours. You need to emancipate yourself from that story. So, one of the ways that we can do that is this kind of th one of the themes that keeps popping up in my talks is seeing through new eyes. And Mark Mesidorian hit upon it again the other night, where he was talking about think of yourself. Where are my glasses? Thinking of yourself taking some glasses and cleaning them, and or putting on a new pair of glasses, or taking your glasses off altogether and just think about seeing with your spiritual eyes, seeing with your spiritual lenses. So, how we can completely wipe away the perceptions that we assumed were reality before, and we can teach ourselves a new perception. One of those perceptions came from Myrtle Fillmore when she said the world is crammed full of health. She also meant the world is crammed full of abundance, harmony, peace, ideas, love, um, answers, relationships, solutions, ideas. The universe is crammed full of these things because it is our source and supply. It is our source and supply. And you hear this word a lot in New Thought thinking. This is, oh, I'm tapped into my source. But think about that. It isn't like, okay, I'm tapped into my source. Here it is. It's this container is not bounded by anything. It's not bound. It's infinite. When we're tapping into source, we're tapping into the source of God, not God outside of ourselves, but God, the divinity that is us, that we are all one with. It's infinite. And just because we're sharing it, don't think that someone else is taking up space. Hey, get out of my source, right? It's infinite. It's infinite. So, um, and it helps to think of, as we think of source, it's so infinite that it helps to think of abundance as a as not a thing that you get, but as a thing you tune into. Okay. Wayne Dyer actually said that specifically. He said, abundance is not something we acquire. It's something that we tune into, that we tap into. It's a consciousness. It's not a condition. Abundance is a consciousness, not a condition. And I think that, when Jesus said, I came that they have life and have it more abundantly, that wasn't just a random piece of scripture. That wasn't just something random. He's saying, I came here, like, this is my mission statement. I came here so that all of us, may have life and have it more abundantly. And I think he was talking about the abundance. He wasn't just talking about so we can all have money. He was talking about having life, having abundance in all ways. And considering abundance as one of our divine powers. And we don't get abundance by looking around us. Like Jesus didn't multiply. This is a famous, you know, this is when you think about Jesus and abundance, you think about the story of the loaves and fishes, right? But when Jesus was multiplying the loaves and fishes, he didn't look around and say, "Oh, Mary, where are those? We need to get some more. Where are those loaves and fishes? Shoot, there's tariffs going on." He didn't. He looked within. He gave a blessing. He gave gratitude, and he just they started to divide things. It just was. He didn't stop to question and look. Um, so that could be a metaphor for we need to look within for our abundance and not look at the outside for our abundance. I'll talk about that more in a minute. But going on, Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom, and all things shall be added unto you. So that's another quote about abundance. All things shall be added unto you when you seek first the kingdom. And it doesn't mean seeking the afterlife. It does not mean seeking heaven that's out there. It means seeking the kingdom. This is the kingdom that we talk about every week. It's our divine selves, it's our divine nature. It's opening our eyes, it's getting away from societal trends, it's letting go of lack and limitation, it's telling ourselves to see through our spiritual eyes. When we see that and we seek first the kingdom and recognize that the divinity is already within us, the answers are already within us, that we're tapped into that and never alone, then all things will be added unto us. So that's where our riches come from. So you might say, well, if this is an abundance talk, what about money? And this is where I shared about a year ago the thinking of abundance like a pyramid. Abundance is the foundation of the pyramid, its principle, its law. Prosperity is the physical effect that results from the abundance principle. Okay, so this is one way of viewing things. And then money at the top of the pyramid is just one form of prosperity and abundance manifested. Money is energy. It's a way, it's interesting because it's a way to quantify the energy of exchange, the energy of generosity, the energy of love. It's a way to quantify that. But it's what one person's giving $5 to a cause would be. It might be 10% of everything they own, that $5, right? To someone else, oh, this $5 is nothing. Well, then what is that equivalent in money too? I mean, you have to feel uh, heartfelt in your giving. And so what $5 means to one person may mean something entirely different to somebody else. So it's up to you how to quantify that. But I will say this, if money is just energy, when you pay your bills, do it from gratitude. If you do it from resentment, have you ever had resentment? Oh my gosh, I got to pay these bills, especially when you had to write a check for every single one. Gosh, I got to write this check, and gosh, I got to write that check. Thank thank God for auto pay because it makes us, if we're feeling resentment every single time we're paying a bill, that's not good energy to put in the universe. But if you're the next time you write a check to something or put a notes field in an electronic payment, think of something in there to say, blessing or something. I forgot there was this three letter set of initials. It was an acronym that people used to write on their checks. Maybe someone could put it in the chat to bless the money and be aware that this is a gift because me paying a utility may seem like a pain in the butt here, but if you go to half the world doesn't have, they can't even pay for utilities because they don't have utilities. There are no utilities being offered. So it's a blessing that we have utilities to pay for. So Margie put in the chat, IGTFT $TIM. You'll have to write out what that means. Thank you. So I'm going to read this. Oh, yeah, there's more stuff coming into the chat. Okay, I'll try not to get too distracted. Um, Thank you for placing things in the chat. Uh, so I want to move next to just talking a little bit about some highlights from a book that is pretty cool that talks about abundance, and it is Deepak Chopra's Seven Laws of Abundance. And I talked about this at length before in the past, but I want to just highlight three ideas from this book called The Seven Laws of Abundance by Deepak Chopra. First of all, the law of abundance says abundance is not a zero-sum game. And what that means is that um, we've been taught when someone else wins, I lose. And that's how many sports work. For those of you who were just talking about football and baseball, that's just kind of how we learn that. We don't learn zero sum thinking, which is when someone else wins, I celebrate it and I don't lose. Okay. So the law of abundance says there is no zero sum game. We all have enough. Therefore, I can look at the success of someone else and instead of feeling less than, I can celebrate someone else's success. How many times have we looked at other people's success and thought less of ourselves? So this opens up the prosperity thinking and the abundance thinking about there is enough to go around. So next, the law of abundance, as Deepak Chopra writes about, says that the intention and the attention of us, our intention and attention, both of those things expand the field of infinite possibilities. So it's a scientific fact that at the quantum level, we can't observe something without affecting it. And I think it's true for every system. So if you look this up on the internet, it's been found in physics. They're trying to observe small particles, and they realize that the instruments that they're using to measure these small particles or the observers themselves are always affecting the system. We cannot observe something without affecting it because there is no closed system. We're all connected. We're all connected. So this is where we think about my prayer energy has an effect on what's happening in the world because I also read your brain waves. If you can measure brain waves with something that's a magnetic device that doesn't even touch the head, then we haven't even really discovered the infinite power that we're tapping into with our brain waves and with our thoughts and with our emotions. It's real. It's not just some made up, it's not just some made up woo-woo stuff. It is, it's real vibrational energy that does things. Okay. The thoughts in my head move my hand. That is a miracle. The thoughts in my head make me walk. That is a miracle. The thoughts in your head can do so much more than that to the external world. So our intention and attention expand the infinite field of possibilities because we are not passive observers. Everything we think about gets is created, causes creation to happen. Okay. So Wayne Dyer, I'll just finish out with a thought from Wayne Dyer on that topic. And he says that when we are crystal clear with our intentions, they cannot help but expand abundantly. So the last thing from this book that I thought was kind of cool is Deepak Chopra says that whatever we want to receive, start by giving. So think about love. Isn't it true with love and with compassion and with kindness and with joy that you find that it is infectious? And what that means is you can actually change someone's day, even if it's just a small transaction at the cash register. Or, I thought of there's this one place I always go in with my car, and it's always there are cars like blocking my way to get into this particular driveway. But almost every single time this is happening, the car back here will back up a little bit, and they'll let me in, and they'll wave, and I'll wave. That is amazing. That is just amazing. It's kindness happening on the road. So if this can happen with love and kindness, it also happens. This reciprocity happens with prosperity. It's a concept known as circulation. It's what I was talking about during the meditation. Um, we can circulate ourselves in terms of sharing prosperity that makes it more come alive more. Deepak Chopra said, holding on, when you don't circulate, you're just holding on. You're holding on to all the stuff that you have. I have this. I'm in a very static state. It's like holding your breath forever. You're going to die if that happens. You need to circulate. Your breath needs to circulate. All the fluids in your body need to circulate. The oceans need to circulate. The rivers need to circulate. Every molecule of water in this world has circulated over the world countless times. So we can do this with prosperity. And I'll say something familiar. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have. That's not where it ends. It's blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. So there's this reciprocity, that circulation, circulation. Through giving, we receive. That's what circulation is. So something else that might sound familiar. We bless the love offerings that help our spiritual home thrive. These gifts do good work in the community and beyond because we at Unity, we outwardly tithe a certain amount every month to nonprofit organizations because we believe in the law of circulation. And these gifts, all the gifts that we ever give, all of us in this room, are returned to us multiplied abundantly. Now, that may be multiplied financially, it may be multiplied in blessings, it may be multiplied in happiness, it may be multiplied in prosperity and success and love and wisdom and health. It will be multiplied to us in all the ways that abundance happens, all the ways that abundance happens. So this is this law of circulation, okay? In giving, we receive. That's the book. So I want to share a quote that I shared 2 years ago from this reading called Permanent Prosperity from Myrtle Fillmore, and then I'll close with a short meditation on abundance. So permanent prosperity. Myrtle Fillmore said, true prosperity is not making money. True prosperity is determining what our own individual soul requires in order to cause it to unfold more and more of God. That's pretty cool. So it's not necessarily about making money, but it is determining what your soul needs in order to fulfill its mission. Okay. So maybe it's not money, maybe it's talent, skills, information, data, relationships, opportunities opening the door for you. We just have to know that if we view abundance as a change of consciousness and not so much a how much stuff do I have, it changes the world. And so, actually, instead of a meditation, I would love for us to, since we're all on mute, I'm going to say a few lines that are affirmational and some are truth statements. And then I'm going to borrow a few lines from the playbook of Mark Mesidorian because it so happened that the first third, well, uh, probably a third of what he was doing in his spiritual work was abundance work. Abundance work. So I'm so, that's what I loved Friday night. It was so right on time for me. So let's do this together. You can do it with your eyes closed. You can do it just I'm going to say something and I would like you to repeat after me. But let's just take a deep breath first. Deep breath of possibilities, relaxing the shoulders. This is real work. We're getting our brains to listen and train, matching this idea, matching the vibration of this idea. So first, let's say after me, I am open to receiving unexpected opportunities. Next, I am grateful for the abundance that I already have. I'm grateful for the blessings that I can't yet see. Infinite blessings are coming my way right now. I live in a universe where the law of abundance is happening. All that I need and desire is flowing to me right now. I'm grateful for money and prosperity in all of its forms. I'm generous with my time, talent, and treasures. I change the world with my abundance. I am open to receiving what is the highest and best for all. Okay, and now I'm going to work my way into just some final ones here. And these are borrowing from the work of Mark Mesidorian, sending many blessings to him. Taking a deep breath in. I have plenty of time. I'm right on time. I'm not done yet. I'm included in all of the good in the universe. I'm grateful for this vibrational shift. I welcome upgrades to every aspect of my life. I welcome the outpouring of incredible good into my life. I'm going to say that one again. I welcome the outpouring of incredible good into my life. There is enough for everyone. There is enough healing. There is enough love. There are enough answers. There is enough creativity. There's enough justice. And say, my abundance matters to the universe. Let's say that again. My abundance matters to the universe. And so it is. Thank you. I am complete. And I'm going to spotlight Jesse.
I always get so bunched up when I am doing music for an abundance talk because I'm like everything is abundance, but I don't have a lot of songs that are like abundance, abundance, abundance. But I was latching on very much to the stillness the changing our outside world through our mind and by becoming still. So I've got this one. We can change the world if we want to. We can change it all if we want. Sit with me, we can be 6 feet apart. We'll bow our heads and honor that which is greater than we are. Take the pain inside your heart and give it to the light. Together we're better, so let yourself remember that tonight. Because we can change the world if we want to. We can change it all if we want. We can change the world if we want to. We can change it all if we want. It isn't mine to ever know the answer to it all. But what I do know is we must go where we are called. Everything is screaming out, honey, it's all inside. Begin with me within and see the peace that we ignite. Stillness is the way.